Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
The Attorney General hits back at that cease and desist letter sent from attorney Fred Smith.
Members of the Free National Movement remember the late Fenton Newmore. That story coming up.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Topping news tonight, dynamic and complex is how Police Commissioner Anthony Ferguson today described crime across the country. During a press briefing, the commissioner insisted crime is down overall. While he gave very few statistics to back up his statement, he did reveal that murders are down by 26%. Jasmine Brown reports.
The commissioner telling the press today that key categories of crime are down, as he also explained what led to the drop. Ferguson revealed that murders for the first 6 months of this year are down by 26% when compared to the same period in 2017. According to Ferguson, from January to June 2018, there were 54 homicides recorded. That's compared to the 73 murders recorded from January to June 2017. Despite the drop, Ferguson says murders continue to be one of the most complex categories of crime.
Just look at homicides, the most feared crime in society, and rightly so, because nothing is more fearful than having a gun pointed in your face, being injured, or losing a family member.
When asked to address statistics for other major categories of crime, the police chief asserted that the press conference held at police headquarters was not about statistics, but about the objectives achieved thus far in his 2018 policing plan. When asked specifically about armed robberies and other crime trends, the commissioner had this response.
Crime trends are not really up or down. It's a pattern, that's a pattern, but overall crime is down. Overall crime is down, and I think you can see it. It can be seen. It's not where we want it to be, but each day, each minute, each hour, we are working at it. Now, I said crime is dynamic, and if you understand crime and its criminality, then you will recognize that you cannot put a number to where you cannot put a number to where a thief will thief. All you have to do is prevent him from stealing, and that is what we are doing.
However, Ferguson did provide the number of people arrested during the first 6 months of the year. More than 2,000 people were arrested for various criminal offenses. There were also 250,000 calls to police during that period. Additionally, police have taken 141 guns and more than 4,200 rounds of ammunition off the streets. Between January and June, the Royal Bahamas Police Force carried out 24 special operations.
Are there challenges that we have? Absolutely. But we believe that if we continue working together as a team, that is the public and the police, we can achieve much more.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Approximately 50 families once lived in the shanty town on Lazaretto Road, but now only 2 families remain, and they too say that they're on their way out. This as government's deadline to get residents out of these unregulated communities looms. Vonig 2 reports.
The sounds of crunching metal and shattered glass sending a strong message to Shantytown residents as members of the Shantytown Action Task Force swarmed this unregulated community on Lazaretto Road this afternoon, removing derelict vehicles. First stop was this red F-150 truck. One by one, vehicles were lifted and piled onto the back of this truck. 25 were removed from Lazaretto Road today, but nearly 300 abandoned vehicles are expected to be cleared from shantytowns by the end of this week, as government takes steps to eliminate these illegal communities. Shantytown residents we spoke with today say approximately 50 families once lived in this community, but now only 2 families remain. They say they too are on their way out. Take this abandoned structure. All that's left behind, bare mattresses and a few articles of clothing and hangers scattered about. 62-year-old Sajil Simon, who was visiting friends in the area, told our news he lived in a shanty town off Hamster Road, but after government advised of pending evictions, his son moved him out.
And I tell him that. He said, okay, Daddy, I can move you down there. So he went different place for me to live. Because he want me safe, you see.
On a nearby tree hangs this notice, reminding residents that their days in such illegal communities are numbered. Though some members of the Haitian community have pleaded with government to give residents more time, Sajil says if the government says go, then go.
That's government probably. If he say move, move. You ain't buy that. If you lease, it's different. You can come and government place do whenever you want to do. If government say move, move.
Simon says if other residents choose not to adhere to the August 10th deadline, that's on them.
I don't know about people, I know about me. So, but somebody else, I to be honest, I don't know about that. I know about me. I make sure I save myself. So people who don't listen, that's them business. That's my business.
A recent Shantytown report revealed that 1,410 people resided in communities like this one. As the August deadline looms, Chairman of the Shantytown Action Task Force, Dion Folk, says expect to see more members of that force.
150 vehicles have already been moved. Today we're moving another 50, and throughout the rest of this week we will have moved at least 300 derelict vehicles from the 11 shanty towns.
Reporting for our news, I'm Ronnie Toot.
More than 6 months after that fatal crash just off the coast of Andros that killed 6 people, including 1 child, the Air Accident Investigation Department has concluded that the cause of the crash was human error on the part of the pilot. The report released today details all the factors surrounding that ill-fated flight.
It is extremely difficult to imagine what those persons on that aircraft would have felt on that fateful day.
Back in late January, when air accident investigators began putting pieces together to determine what caused that Piper Aztec aircraft to go down shortly after takeoff from the San Andros airport, focus shifted to the pilot and his ability to fly in less than favorable weather conditions. And today, the AAIC confirmed that the cause of the crash was human error and that the pilot was not qualified to fly that type of aircraft by instruments only. According to the report, the pilot failed to maintain control of the aircraft, possibly as a result of spatial disorientation and a lack of situational awareness, which caused him to continue flight into meteorological conditions for which he was not comfortable flying. The 25-page report includes interviews with others who have flown with the pilot, Darren Clark. It reads, a student pilot who previously flew with the pilot to build flight time stated, I'd been flying through overcast conditions with him before, and I had to calm him down and tell him to trust the instruments inside the plane. If I wasn't with him then, he might have gone that day instead. Another person who flew with the pilot stated he was kind of scared of flying in clouds. The plane went down on January 17th. In the days following, investigators suspected the plane disintegrated upon impact and would probably never be found. But in that report, it states that on February 14, 2018, a local fisherman from the Mastic Point settlement discovered the remainder of the wreckage. However, the authorities never learned of the discovery until February 18th after viewing a video posted to Facebook about the discovery. The authorities were able to make contact with the fisherman who was away on a fishing expedition, and upon his return, he took local police to the site where the wreckage was discovered. The report concluded it was impossible for anyone to survive and noted the aircraft was destroyed as a result of the high-angle, high-speed impact with the ocean. Human remains collected near the wreckage were turned over to Princess Margaret Hospital for DNA analysis and victim identification purposes. Well, 2 men are dead after they were killed in separate traffic accidents, both on Carmichael Road around 3 a.m. yesterday. According to police reports, a man was walking along Carmichael near Gladstone Road when the driver of a vehicle struck him and left him to die. The man was rushed to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police are asking anyone with information on this hit and run and the identity of the driver to contact them. Around that same time, another man was leaving a business establishment on Carmichael Road near Popeyes when police say he walked into the path of an approaching vehicle that hit him. The man was rushed to hospital where he died. The driver remained on the scene and is assisting police with their investigation. Police Commissioner expressed serious concern over the high number of traffic fatalities.
Let me be the first to say that we are really concerned about the amount of traffic fatalities in our country. 38 for the period under review. In a lot of cases, persons are still going out and driving dangerously. Therefore, this is a matter for all of us to be concerned about.
There have been a total of 5 traffic fatalities on New Providence since Friday. According to Ferguson, there were more than 13,000 traffic accidents recorded so far this year.
We have also looked at activities after midnight and saw that between the period January 1 to June 30th, there were over 500 accidents involving damage recorded between the hours of midnight and 8 a.m., which reflects a greater need for caution during this time frame.
In other news, Attorney General Carl Bethel dismissing lawsuit threats by Shantytown residents, asserting there are no grounds for legal action. His comments come one day after attorney for those Shantytown residents, Fred Smith QC, sent a letter to the AG, Prime Minister, and other government officials calling for the demolition of those illegal structures to be stalled. Jillian Gray has that.
Attorney General Carl Bethel today dismissed threats by approximately 200 Shantytown residents to file a class action lawsuit against the government over its plan to demolish those illegal communities. Residents have until August 10th to vacate.
I cannot see where a class action lawsuit is permissible under the rules that govern such things in Bahamian law. But Mr. Smith, no doubt, is an ingenious lawyer, and he will try everything.
Smith said in a letter the government's move is unconstitutional and there is no provision of the Buildings Regulation Act that entitles the government to take possession of the land. Bethel questioned how airtight that lawsuit is, noting that nothing has been filed.
There are persons who have interests in trying to prevent the government from bringing law and order to the housing situation on this island and elsewhere in the country. Well, we'll see what the courts say about it if it comes to that. But I'm surprised it's taken them so long to bring their class action lawsuit if it's so well-founded.
President of the League of Haitian Pastors, Pastor Jean-Paul Charles, said he has asked the government to give Shantytown residents first preference to purchase the land in those communities.
We respect the views of Haitian pastors. We would not be able to say that we're going to follow their recommendation, but we continue to have a dialogue with them.
All of the leased land that's involved in this exercise will be turned into government subdivision, low-cost housing subdivision. And any Bahamian resident has the right to apply for those houses. We are not going to make a special case for any particular group of persons.
Now, folks said the August 10th deadline for Shantytown residents to be out is a firm one that will not be moved. He added that the government is well within their rights to evict those residents and said that the Shantytown task force is working aggressively to ensure that deadline is met. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
Well, Free National Movement members and supporters packed the party's Mackey Street headquarters this afternoon to pay tribute to former Cabinet Minister Fenton Newmore, who died last week. Jared Haight was there and filed this report.
Keep the dream alive, don't let it die. There's something deep.
It was a somber occasion as members of the Free National Movement mourned the loss of former Cabinet Minister Fenton Newmore, who fought until the end after a years-long battle with cancer.
Also remembering Newmore was his former cabinet colleague Tommy Turnquest. He says that Newmore was one of 4 really progressive members in the party at that time.
Turnquest recalled his efforts as leader of government business to permeate the ranks of the coalition formed by former ministers Byron Woodside, Charles Maynard, Granville McCartney, and of course Newmore. He says while it's unfortunate that none of the men remain with the party today, Newmore remained loyal until the end.
I can say, however, that Fenton, from the day he and the CDR members that joined the Free National Movement, Fenton never wavered, despite how he was treated. He remained committed to the cause. He wanted to assist in building our nation and always felt that he had something to offer. He was prepared at all costs to do so. He had an insatiable desire for public service. He loved Exuma, and he wanted the opportunity to represent that island that he held so near and dear to him.
Cabinet ministers, past and present, party supporters, officers and Newmore's grieving family filled F&M headquarters as Newmore was remembered for his booming voice and willingness to express unpopular opinions. Newmore, who served as Minister of State for the Environment during the final Reuben Ingram-led administration, was hailed as a proud son of Exuma by former Environment Minister Earl DeVoe, whose remarks were read by F&M General Secretary Serpent Roll.
He did not fear the public meetings or the political adversity. He did not flinch from combative positions. When faced with what he felt was unfounded criticisms, he stood firm. He enjoyed the cut and thrust of Parliament. Fenton fought a tough battle with a debilitating illness. He fought, as I found he always did, with courage.
Newmore died on July 23rd after a long battle with colon cancer. Senior policy advisor to the Prime Minister Joshua Sayers says he was close to Newmore's brother during their time shared in Washington, D.C. He says debating the Exuma native was no easy task.
Fenton had a passion for life, politics, and his country. He had a point of view on every single subject. And as was mentioned, he held this point, irrespective of whether you disagreed or simply liked it or not.
Turnquest also recalled coming across Newmore in hospital as he visited his own father. His strength, he says, was infectious. Newmore is survived by his wife Q-Tel and his 4 children. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Still to come on Our News, wig-wearing robbery suspects in custody, plus how one agriculture student's senior thesis came alive. Stay tuned.